What's up, everybody? Welcome to the live stream today. Today, we're covering a subject that's probably on everybody's mind that's here, and that is the Strait of Hormuz blockade standoff, diplomatic maneuvering, and Iran-Russia consultations, as they like to do. Birds of a feather, I'm not sure how that saying goes. Birds of a feather, Iran and Russia together. I'm pretty sure that's the exact quote from everybody's childhood that we all know. But it's pretty funny seeing, Russia step up to help, supposedly militarily could be a big part of that as well. We'll be diving into that throughout this, but there's no, let's just say, coincidence that the background right now shows all of these different nuclear sites in Iran. If you guys saw the main channel video today, we covered this a little bit, and Iran has basically said, here's what, I always feel crazy, but I'm like, Iran said this. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm about to gaslight myself by reading this. But here's what they said. They said they would open the Strait of Hormuz if it didn't include any ties to any type of limits on nuclear programs, production, etc. I'm sure they wouldn't do anything. I'm sure they would just completely become a normal country if we just allow them to open the Strait of Hormuz. But it's kind of funny, right? Because Iran, I think they think they're gaslighting the world, and the world's just like, oh yeah, yeah, oh wow, they're really men of their word. Yep, they do exactly what they say. And it's funny because when they offer to open the Strait of Hormuz, I was like, oh, they think if they just turn on the money tap to the U.S. and the world, which the U.S. is maybe going to benefit slightly from that being turned on. We're benefiting at a huge level right now when it comes to all the different European ships that are getting oil from, North Dakota, from good old Texas, come get some of that Texas crude, which I hear is actually sweet crude, which means basically you don't have to do all the refining that you would have to do for the crude that's coming from Iran. So it's actually better crude for the world. Pretty wild, huh? Pretty interesting. So the fact that that's happening, Iran's like, oh, we'll open the strait, and that'll convince the U.S. to just fully allow us to develop our nuclear program. So pretty wild. Oh, we got someone from the future. Someone is here from the future. That's awesome. Welcome. Good to see Ed, New, Finn, Ag, Sky. Glad everybody's in the chat. So they kind of are talking to the U.S. like they are grifting, and how they've been grifting their own population. But if you think about it, that's kind of how they only know how to communicate. They only know how to grift. That's kind of the big thing there. So when we go to the actual site here, you can see Pickaxe Mountain. If you're listening to us on Apple or Spotify, don't you worry. I will be describing this as much as I possibly can. So this is Natanz, and I'm going to go ahead and bring us down into the actual map itself. Natanz is one of the nuclear enrichment sites. So nuclear enrichment sites that was actually hit by the GBU-57 MOP, the Max Ordnance Penetrator. Just an incredible, you don't want to be in the business end of that Max Ordnance Penetrator, let's be honest. So when we zoom into the base, here's kind of what I want to show you guys, if we're just kind of standing on the base itself. Let's go to one of these hills. We're going to go to a hill on Natanz, everybody. And the reason why, by the way, this isn't just like, oh, they just have a big area that's not developed. Well, the reason why is because even at Natanz, they have underground facilities as well. You can kind of see right here, they're not really hiding this extremely well. This looks like some sort of an entrance, or at least it was, and it was covered up. But let's go ahead and bring ourselves down into the map. For everybody listening on Spotify or Apple, we're basically looking at Natanz, which is a base in Iran. And we're talking about how they are likely developing, or they want to continue the nuclear program at Pickaxe Mountain. So if they do continue it, in my opinion, it'll be at Pickaxe Mountain, because Pickaxe Mountain is going to give them the ability to have a deeper hiding spot for uranium enrichment, basically. So that's kind of the big focus there. You can see the mountains in the backdrop. We know they've got certain mountain bases in here, but this, I believe, or right here is Pickaxe Mountain, but we'll check for sure here in a second. So from the base of Natanz itself, where the actual strikes happened that took down Iran about a year ago, you can tell that the big focus here for Iran is to build something deeper. They got to go deeper. So their whole goal is to create something that can't be struck like the Natanz enrichment facility was struck. That's the main focus. That's what they want. And they're kind of hinting like, hey, we're not going to stop until we get that. And I'm sure if you think about the Majabta guy, I think he actually just got confirmed dead today. Diamond will verify that and back us up on that. Oh, uranium. They literally have something on the map that says uranium reserves. Wow. They're not even trying to hide it at this point. They're like, yeah, we've got uranium reserves buried here. That's pretty funny. This to me looks like a surface to air missile site, a couple of them. So this one in particular looks like a surface to air missile site for like an S-400, like a bigger missile launcher. This one looks like a AAA piece. So some sort of AAA that would be operating out of there. And then what is this? Oh, it's like a glowing orb, or it might be another AAA piece. So a little AAA spot right there. And then this has like a little cover. It's a gazebo. This must be a marriage event center where you can go and get married right there. So a little gazebo for everybody in the Ayatollah's regime. He's like, we build nuclear weapons and then we marry. Everyone gets to get married. We have a big boom for the celebration. Big boom. Could you imagine? He's basically like, we're going to test nuclear weapons. This will be the celebration for your wedding. There you go. That'd be actually, I'd probably do that. That sounds pretty cool. If it was actually something you could see. A lot of nuclear weapons are tested underground. So nuclear weapons get tested underground. You can see Natanz underground enrichment facility entrances here. And then this is claimed to be, so this is the Natanz ones here. Wow, you can see all that earth that got pulled out of the mountain. That's a lot. So it got pulled out from the mountain. That's where they've built some of their enrichment facilities. Wow, look at this road, even to get to that little door right there. Wow, that's a precarious road that makes its way all the way there to the entrance of Natanz underground enrichment facility entrance. Natanz underground enrichment facility entrance there. And then let's see. So underground enrichment facility. This is kind of interesting, like a little lookout place. And this has a road going up to it as well. So it could be a vent shaft. Could also just be somewhere where they needed to get some extra material out of the mountain. So they just start pumping it out right there. And then this looks to be what's being called Pickaxe Mountain underground nuclear site. According to Derek, big shout out. Thank you for doing the imagery. The guy who wants no credit, but is crushing it at the imagery work, is saying that this is the Pickaxe Mountain nuclear site here. So definitely different than some of the sites that we saw being struck. But this is what Iran wants to do. They want to keep developing their nuclear weapons here. And they don't want to have that as any part of the deal, because they probably feel like, I mean, if you have this much of infrastructure already built, you know, if you have it, why not keep developing it? And I think that's probably, if you think of the hardline IRGC guys that think, how do they save their life? Well, they know that they can kill their own people to save their life. So they're saving their life against their own people by murdering thousands of them. So then those people won't kill them, which they are justified to do because of what Iran's done to them. And then you think of how are they, if you put yourself in their shoes, now they're like, okay, how do we keep the international community from killing us? Well, if we have a nuclear weapon, then we can threaten Israel, threaten the US, and they won't be able to kill our Ayatollahs anymore. Because then they'll just launch the nuclear weapon. I mean, that would be how, so they would protect the regime with a nuclear weapon, no doubt. No doubt. We all know that. That's like 100% likely, you know, what they would do. Again, you can't, maybe 99.9%. Can't always say it's 100%. But I don't really want to take that risk. I'm pretty okay not taking that risk, actually. Radical actors, that's what they're going to do. And then you can see around the actual site itself, lots of different surface-to-air missiles. Tons, that's their whole focus, surface-to-air missiles, protect Natanz. So if I was a betting man, I would say likely a lot of whatever's around Natanz right now, as far as the different surface-to-air missile sites, that focus is to just protect the different surface-to-air missile sites. So if they're getting advanced technology, their focus is going to be very focused on just the nuclear ambition there. So that's the big thing.
Add something real quick, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
No, I've been seeing on X this morning that Trump's been saying like his kind of next step, or like what he's wanting to do in the near future, is go in and take all of Iran's uranium, enrich uranium, and take it back here, and so we can use it.
Okay. Yeah. And then Iran's IRGC actually released a video that they tried to say that the US's rescue of the weapons systems officer was us going and actually trying to get their uranium, and we couldn't get it. So they released that saying, see, look, the US couldn't get it. So kind of
Yeah.
interesting. We'll probably end up watching that at some point. I think that'd be pretty fun to watch.
Yeah.
But yeah, good times. Good times when the IRGC starts releasing propaganda, you know you're on the right track. I feel like they basically want to smear the US. They want to use propaganda against the US, and they want to get these corporate media outlets that are just completely political, right? They're against Trump no matter what Trump does. They want to get those people on board and then have them start to spout the same type of rhetoric, like we're losing and things like that. So that's the division that they want to create, just so we're all on the same page. I was just on Andy Stumpf's podcast. Great guy. It was a lot of fun. And we actually were talking about that a little bit, where some of these reporters, people that are putting out these stories, they're kind of caught up and swept up. I mean, some of them truly believe it because they just hate Trump so much, right? They're just driven by that hate. And they're throwing the baby out with the bathwater. They're not seeing that there's things being done now that haven't been done because no one's had the backbone to do them. They're just spouting political rhetoric. And those people you're not going to be able to convince. But some people are also caught up in it as well. Like some people, they want to have a paycheck. They want to provide for their family. They have this job, and the corporation, whatever it is like, okay, write this about, make it political, make it against the Trump administration at all costs. And they do it because they're trying to put food on the table. But personally, I think that's gross. I think people out there should try to find some place that they're actually passionate about. The problem is someone's going to step in and take their place if they leave. So that's why we just try to spread the truth, try to talk about potentially, why they're saying what they're saying, political motivations, and then just talk about the truth, the hardware, the facts, what's going on with the military, and what leadership is doing. Leadership is a huge thing for a country. Having good leadership is massive. So that's something that we focus on here on the channel. Any thoughts on that, Diamond?
Yeah, no, I think it's just really sad to see, like, I get why people will do it, like you said, to put food on the table, provide for their family, take care of their family in any way that they need, things like that. So, like, I get it in a sense, but it's just so sad that, like, the leaders of these companies or whoever it is that are trying to get these people to do that have to go to those measures to just basically threaten them to take away their paycheck, their livelihood for their family, and
Yeah.
let's do this. It's like, as Americans, like, we're not about that. Like, that should not be in our country.
Yeah.
That's one thing. So it's just so sad to me that that does happen more often these days and that it results to that. But I hope we can get back to, I think possibly, more people are starting to get more of a backbone and stand their ground. I know we're Christian. I don't know what, if anybody else is or not, and that's fine if not. But yeah, I'm a big believer of, like, God will provide a way, and so if one path that you think you should be going down doesn't end up working, that, that's fine. There's another path, and it most of the time is a better path, and so you'll definitely get through it, and yeah.
Nice. Good thoughts. Mic drop from Diamond, just dropping mics left and right. Well said. So we looked at the ventilation shafts of this. Let's see if we can just get a little better view. This is going to be a tough problem, though. If they start refining again here, this is when it becomes an even tougher problem because it's supposedly 300 plus feet deep, which is huge. This is a enriched facility, or the enrichment facility vent shaft. I think it's this little piece right here, but let's see. I think he just didn't put it over top of it so I could actually see the vent shaft itself. So again, when you're disabling things like this, no need to completely go all the way into the uranium warehouse itself. I mean, hey, if you can do it, cool. I mean, bonus points. But again, going through 300 feet of rock instead of just you hit the vent shafts, totally take all the air out. And what do uranium centrifuges need? Well, they need cooling. They need lots of cooling. So, and they need to release heat. So some people have said, well, why don't they just liquid cool them? Well, there is liquid cooling. There's water. There's all kinds of stuff. But at some point, you got to get rid of that heat somewhere. So even if they're just, let's say they found a way, they're, I don't know, really sneaky. They hid the vent shafts that's giving them actual oxygen. They're still going to need to get rid of all of that heat that's down there, because the people inside of it could go in with rebreathers. Sure, I got it. not going to be very effective, but it's a possibility, right? The people go in with rebreathers. They're working on the uranium. Man, that's going to be a you-know-what show. Just imagine trying to work on a uranium centrifuge wearing a scuba mask, because there's no airflow down there. So maybe they found a new advanced way to cool the different uranium, whatever, in that case, okay, fine. And then people have said, well, they don't have a nuclear bomb yet. Yeah, okay, I gotcha. Cool. Creating a nuclear bomb is not an easy task. I gotcha. But when their stated ambition is we just want to build our nuclear program and we don't want to make a deal on it, it's like, well, why? Why? Well, interesting. Maybe they're closer than we all think, and are we willing to take that chance? That's just kind of the big thing. Early warning radar site. Let's see what this looks like. I'm pretty curious here how big the radar sites actually are. And look at this, embedded on a hillside. So, wow. Yep. Get a little elevation. Let's see if we can get down and look at this thing. Yeah. Let's put our little yellow man next to this. See if we can look at it. I wish it was 3D, but it's just going to show it as a 2D site. But you can see we're kind of up here above a lot of the air. And this red up here, this is actually a pipeline it's actually underground. It's not above the sky. I mean, that'd be a very innovative pipeline. It's 200 feet in the air. The easiest target to hit ever. That's a pipeline, oil, things like that. But this is an early warning radar site. And you can see these things are put on high ground. Similar type radars are put near the Strait of Hormuz. That's how they're detecting ships, determining what ship is which. So they're not dumb. Again, not their first rodeo. They've been planning this for 40 plus years. So with them focused on that, early warning radars are going to be likely gone bye-bye. So those likely gone bye-bye, pretty easy to see that, pretty easy to know what it's doing. So then the focus will become for them just getting manpads, those shoulder-fired missiles out into the actual population as much as they can, having little squads, little teams that can hike up mountains and hills. Because again, you get that thing up a 7,000-foot mountain, now you have a higher reach to whatever altitude the aircraft are flying in at. So that's kind of the big thing there. When it comes to the vent shafts, that's the number one target. Take out the vent shafts, take out the uranium cooling. That's likely the way it would go down. But again, the enemy is going to adapt. They're going to change. They're going to shift. So there could come a point where there's some sort of different type of cooling, some sort of interesting technology that they've gotten from Russia. Again, Russia has a massive nuclear arsenal. China has a massive nuclear arsenal. And they're kind of turning Iran into the little brother, right? Russia wants Iran to poke the U.S. in the ribs, kind of just be a nuisance to us, while Russia is able to get a better deal in Ukraine. That's their whole focus. If they can push us enough, get that better deal in Ukraine, boom, they're winning in their mind. And then China wants that flow of oil to go through the strait. So if we just kind of talk about that for a sec, China needs that oil for their war. 2027, that's what all the think tanks are saying. The war will go down in 2027. Oh, this is a north up. This is actually Caspian Sea up here in the north. So let's go down south. Down south where it's beautiful and sunny. There's 5-star resorts. It's basically sandals locations everywhere. Right, Diamond? Just pretty much vacation zone over here. One day, maybe one day. That'd be sweet. Who knows? 10 years from now, these could be vacation zones. I could see that happening. But it's going to be a rough go for a little while. So there's that. You can see you've got this area where the whole goal here is to just pressure the Strait of Hormuz and to try to get some sort of flow through the naval blockade, which is not looking very good. The reports that I'm hearing from inside of Iran itself is pretty dire. Grocery stores are sold out. Water can be hard to come by. It's a very dire situation right now. Now, the leaders themselves, they're probably fine, right? They have reserves and stockpiles, and they have, water tanks that could last a couple years. But the population is kind of suffering from what I'm hearing at this point. Now, they haven't been told to unleash or go against the regime itself for good reason, right? The regime, the IRGC, they still hold the cards. They still hold the power. They have all the guns. So that shifting and changing is still going to take some time, while now it's a big focus on the leadership themselves. Will they actually make a deal? But they probably have the ability to wait this out for years, would be my guess, at least at their little palaces. That doesn't mean that they're going to last that long. It just means that they've prepped and planned for things like this as one of their main focuses. as mafia bosses do. So, all right. So the map itself, we can see all the different targets that Derek has put together for us. The merchant ships that have been struck. Let's just take a quick peek at the strait and see where the minefields at. Lots of strikes happening around Iran. Launch vehicles here. This is something that was kind of interesting. Some UAV launch vehicles. I thought this would be cool to look at. So this is where they launched a lot of those UAVs that they could program right there. So they put a program in it, they put the coordinates in, they put where the ship is, and it just blasts off vertical takeoff. You don't need to do any runways or anything like that. And you've got the Shahed launch vehicles that have been seen here, different storage, IRGC, Navy fast boats, the whole shebang right here as far as proxy tactics. So that's the big focus on that. And then you get the Naval Brigade here. Let's see what's left. This footage is obviously taken before the strikes happen. So let's see what we actually have here. A Soleimani class ship. We know these Soleimani class ships went bye-bye. This is their most advanced type of ship. You can see it's got a helicopter landing pad on the back. A little gun there in the front. Just a little guy. This little guy, don't worry about that little guy. And then you've got these massive shipyards. I wonder what could be in these shipyards. Oh, here we've got some fast attack craft. Okay, that's what I was actually looking for. So they actually left a couple out. Whoops, left these out for us all to see. So these are the fast attack craft. This is what's going after the different tankers recently in the Strait of Hormuz, Qasem Island being one of the main spots where the IRGC is still operating from. And then we've got naval boats that are kind of varying degrees of disrepair that we're looking at right now. Some of them, you can clearly see some guns on them. This one looks like kind of a missile tube on the back of this one. So this is Qasem Island. This is a big epicenter for them to operate the IRGC Navy out of. And if you look at this area, so this is kind of the civilian infrastructure that's attached to it. Let's see what we see here. Yeah, obviously going to be more of a civilian interface here, but their proxy tactics know no bounds. Their goal is to make these all dual use, and that's their focus, make them dual use. And then that gives them the ability to use them for whatever they want, whatever little nefarious techniques and tactics that they would like. Let's check out this one. This one could be fun. IRGC Navy, another one on Qasem Island. Let's see what we got here. This one looks like more like a fast attack boat HQ. Whoa, those look fast. Those are like little cigarette boats. That looks actually really fun. I wish they at some point we just become allies. It's a new regime in Iran that's US friendly. I just want to go over and I want to drive one of these cigarette boats in the Persian Gulf. Anybody else? I think that would be a lot of fun. That's my goal. And then maybe have a helicopter on the back. They could basically turn this into a capitalistic endeavor where they're like, all right, this is the IRGC experience. You basically like put on a ski mask. They let you shoot AK-47s right on the fast boats, get on a helicopter, board an oil tanker. I mean, anybody like this would be bigger than any attraction in Vegas. And I came up with the idea. So IRGC, I get 10% of royalty. Actually, let's go 20% of royalties for the first 20 years, and we'll go from there. I think that's fair. Diamond gets 10% as well.
I was going to say, what about me?
Yeah, you get 10. I brought you in, Honestly, speaking of that, Diamond gets all the super thanks. If you want to give her a super thanks, throw it out there and it'll keep her off the streets. She's a cute little blonde. We don't want to run around the streets of Tehran, basically trying to take down the IRGC single-handedly. We can't have that.
I can do it though. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
But yes, they are very much appreciated. And I guess a little bit of insight. I'll just tell you this. I'm fixing to move. And so all of the super chats will be going to help the move. So
nice.
Very much appreciated.
Yep. She's basically a poor intern at this point that I keep sitting in her chair for about 20 plus hours. So she has no other way to make money. I'm the best boss in the world, though. I do give her 4 hours breaks per day, of which she's supposed to work out for 2 of those hours. And so we allow her to sleep for 2 hours. So yeah, your super thanks help her. I don't know. They won't get her out of the chair, probably. I'll still probably have to keep her there for 20 hours. But who knows? Enough super thanks. Maybe we'll get her out of the chair, give her like a 19-hour workday or something small like that. Something a little less than the 20-hour workday. But she's a diamond, so she's good under pressure. That's the whole reason why she got the call sign diamond. So she can handle it. All right. So if we look at the actual boats, the cigarette boats there, that's their big focus, fast attack craft, AK-47s on those, harassing oil tankers. That's the big focus, and that's what they do best. That is their bread and butter. And then this is also their bread and butter, the IRGC minefield right here. Oman is up here. Oman owns this little chunk of space right here. But my thing to Oman, and I've said this before, I'm like, hey, Oman, do you have any type of naval presence or any type of base? And the answer is like, yeah, there's some ports, but there's no real naval base from Oman. Oman's just been fat and happy, sitting around, collecting their oil royalty checks, just letting Iran take over everything. But look how strategic all this is. I mean, this is massively strategic. And Iran's like, yeah, we're just going to mine this whole thing. So if Oman had a backbone, here's what I think Oman should have been doing for the last, let's just say, 40 years. Don't let them mine it. Have a counter naval force where you're like, yeah, actually, we thought about it, and we're not going to let you mine the entire Strait of Hormuz, basically, and push every ship up here next to your coastline so that you can charge a toll. So again, you can blame Iran all you want, right? But at this point, is it really helpful? I mean, when you start to blame Iran, I mean, do we really think they're going to do anything different, right? A zebra has stripes, can't get rid of the stripes. Oman's stripes should have been, we're going to build 5 high-level Navy bases right here that are drone-capable, anti-mine capable, but instead they're collecting their royalty checks. And Iran's like, no, we'll handle this straight. Hey, Oman, you just enjoy. Here, let us send you. We'll send you a fleet of cigarette boats that have no naval capability at all. And they're just fun. You can drive them. We'll give you some Ford Broncos. You can drive them on the beach. It'll just be fun. And they're basically taking advantage of a naive. Whoever was in charge of not building navy bases here is just naive. Let's just call a spade a spade. So when it comes to countries like this, they love when other countries just have the hugs not bullet approach, kind of similar to what the Sheinbaum administration has in Mexico. The hugs not bullet approach is built by the cartels, right? They're like, no, just do hugs, and then that'll keep the cartel, that'll keep a war from happening between the government and the cartel, and then the cartel will just kill the local population and other cartel members. And the government's like, yay, okay, so you're not going to kill government members? Yay, thank you, cool. That's what has basically happened to Mexico. And it's when you don't have a backbone that cartels move in, they take over the country. Cartels basically run Mexico. We pretty much know that. And then Iran runs the Strait of Hormuz, even though there's all these different power brokers out here, or potential power brokers who could have been operating, that could have been doing something worthwhile. So when you see that happening, it just makes me, in my own life, I'm like, okay, where am I not taking action? What do I need to do? And then this is kind of cool. Derek highlighted this for us as well. This is where the A-10 supposedly, and again, these are rough coordinates, right? This is all based on AI and corroboration of different things around the internet. But on April 26, a US A-10 ditched in the Persian Gulf here. A lot of these stories, like the fact that the war is still basically happening with the blockade and some other things that we're going to get to here in a second. But once we're able to have all these stories come out, I mean, can you imagine? Like, it's going to get awesome. It's going to be really special to hear about all these aviators and all the things that they did to make it work. This shows actually another spot for the A-10 incident. So this shows you, it's AI. It's not perfect. We're doing the best we can. If I was a betting man, I'd say the punch out point was more over here, because this is going to be not a good area to punch out at. I mean, still, you could get some U.S. assets in there, no doubt. Someone would go in there for that pilot, absolutely. But this right here is a much better place to punch out, just because you've got a lot of the Gulf partners, you've got the ability of the U.S. to be operating, have a shorter helicopter flight to you, all kinds of different advantages there. So likely that is the punch out point, not back here. But again, it's AI. We do our best, everything we can to get the best information to you, and then transparent with that. All these different oil tankers right now, these oil derricks that are out in the middle. Derrick, no pun intended, the guy who does our imagery. But these out here are supposedly the ones that Iran was making a lot of money off of as well. And these are being shut down as well, not allowed to let those transmit, as well as not allowing the oil tankers to flow through. That's the reports I'm seeing. So pretty interesting there, seeing all that take place. And then if we just move out here, this little guy. Don't worry about this little guy. The Navy blockade. Yeah. That's not going to go well for Iran, right? Massive naval blockade with 3 super carriers in the region, 3 carrier strike groups in the region. Yeah, not going to go well. And it's pretty interesting too, if you look at this. So Iran actually struck Oman. They struck their biggest oil ports here to cause panic and mayhem in their oil industry. And now they're having negotiations with Oman. They're like, hey guys, sorry about striking your oil infrastructure. Can we actually borrow some of that oil now? And Oman's like, well, we blew up our oil port. We can't transmit any of it anywhere. The pipelines are down. You hit the pipelines. And Iran's like, yeah. Anyway, so can we just make sure if things cool back off, you don't build any naval bases near the Strait of Hormuz? We'll pay you. And Oman's like, hopefully at this point, Oman's like, yeah, what's that George Bush quote? You fooled me once, shame on you. You fooled me twice. Well, you're never going to fool me again. I think that's a George Bush quote. Yeah. Official quote right there. So hopefully Oman's got their big boy panties on and they're like, all right, we're actually not going to make a deal with you this time. Trust but verify, Oman, during the negotiations. That's what I would say. And that's from a very strategic perspective, having gotten all of your oil production hit at this massive port. I think it's the biggest port that Oman has, by the way. So yeah, good luck. Good luck with those negotiations. But again, off-roads are good, but when Iran's negotiation tactic is tap you along behind the scenes, trying to do everything they can to disrupt, degrade, and detract from any deal the U.S. is trying to make, I don't know. How do you say the writing's on the wall without saying the writing's on the wall? Yeah, kind of a wild situation. What I do want to do here is pop to X real quick because there's a lot going on. A lot of very interesting things happening at this point that I think will be good for us all to review. So let's do that. This is of 9 hours ago. It says U.S. military continues to move men and materials to the Middle East in preparation for the restart of hostilities with Iran. Well, the potential restart of hostilities, yeah, it could obviously happen. Let's see where this is actually. Let's see, so make this big. Let's see what's actually flowing. So, yeah, so some European, basically the land bridge is what they're saying is coming from the U.S., headed towards the Middle East. So Persian Gulf is down here in the bottom right. It's kind of hard to see. Let's see if it's kind of at the very bottom right of that image. That's the Persian Gulf. So Kuwait's, let's see if you can see my cursor. Kuwait's down here. Persian Gulf's right here. So they're trying to say a lot of flights coming in towards Israel, towards Jordan. You know, Jordan's a big ally of the United States as well. So is that what's going on? I mean, the resupply, restocking, I mean, you have all these different forces in the area. So you got to resupply and restock them. And they're also going to be flying training missions. You got to keep the spear sharp while you're waiting around to see what happens. So I don't think this necessarily means the conflict is going to kick right back off, but it's not nothing. You know, it's not saying that nothing's going to happen. I'm going to screen record this real quick just so I can have it for tomorrow's video. Probably share a little bit about that during the main feature video tomorrow. And we'll do a poll here in the video as well to see if you guys are interested in helping me decide what the video will be. That should be a good time. Let's see what else we got. Breaking, U.S. Secretary of State Rubio says Washington will not tolerate any attempt to hold international waterways hostage, which is the MO of Iran. Like, that's the main focus of Iran. Let's all be honest here. U.S. forces turn back 38 ships as Iranian port blockade continues. And then, yeah, we know Iran offered a deal to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Let's see if we got any media, anything interesting. Well, this is cool. This is just supposedly. U.S. special forces are still operating within Iran to locate hidden nuclear materials and senior leadership. They have been helping locate targets and gather intelligence since the war started. Huh. Interesting. That's cool. I just want the motorcycle. Again, taking some screenshots here. This guy says, keep searching, guys, and good luck. With the number of forces, the intelligence agency predicts 56 years to find the materials, if any. Yeah. Okay. I don't know. It's just funny. So again, this is just an assumption. They don't have actual proof that that's what's going on. But Christmas little. I thought they were. That's funny. I thought they were actually like little Christmas ornaments. They're like, Iran and the U.S. having a Christmas party, but it looks like they might be wrecking balls. Okay, could have been either or. You know, it's an honest mistake. So let's see if we can find an IRGC hype video. The one that I released in today's video, I think is just it's worth the watch. It's a Lego video, so let's do that. IRGC Lego video. You guys are gonna love this. I think this is the one.
Are using Lego style videos to do.
Oh yeah, that's the one, but that's someone else reacting. We don't want to have a reaction to the reaction of a video. That would be like a Russian doll of reactions where the reaction just keeps going. What is this one? Let's see. Yep. They're like, we've been waiting for this moment. They're like, the beards are perfectly combed and trimmed. We're ready to go. Wow, this is actually pretty representative. It's like showing let's see if I make this bigger here. It's showing like a desert fortress. Like this is literally like the Ayatollah's vacation bunker right here. It's that's pretty funny. Like all of their money goes into fortresses just like this, which is true to facts.
At least they got one thing.
What's that?
At least they got one thing right. The landscape.
And look, they put the weapon systems officer climbing the mountain with a broken arm. So we got a little sling on. I mean, the attention to detail here is pretty hilarious.
God is good. He's alive. Go get our boy. One American behind enemy lines. Wounded. Surrounded. We bring him home.
Yes. Yeah, so the story about the underwear is actually true. So U.S. Special Forces, they went in and eradicated, I think, like 100 IRGC commandos. Literally just like, boom. Like the reality of that we will be talking about that for a decade plus. But the reason that I love SEALs, I love pararescue guys, is they're big brain guys that are also super athletes. And so they have a sense of humor too. Like when Maduro got captured, they put an Origins of Maine shirt on Maduro while he was on one of the helicopters. And that's Jocko Willink's brand. So it's like free advertising because they knew that picture was going to be, you know, that picture went viral, hundreds of millions of views all around the world. And Jocko's brand is right there. So Navy SEALs helping out a friend, getting free advertising, you know, which is awesome. Navy SEALs are doing the job. Why not? So U.S. Special Forces went in, I think it was like an American Eagle pair of underwear. That was the American flag. They just left it there. And there's pictures of IRGC guys holding that up. And they're laughing, but they're also like, after that photo, they had to go bury 100 plus of their commandos, which is, yeah, wild.
Viper 1-2, hang in there. We're coming.
Nice. This is actually a badass one. Like, I like this video. This is actually good. Like, it's actually more true than a lot of them. Yes, get over. Oh, the green bullets. That's where it's at. Yes.
Coming in danger close. Keep your heads down.
This is awesome.
Colonel, let's go home.
Boom. That's Colonel.
Package secure. Heading to extract.
Oh, it skipped ahead. Was that the end of it? Let's see.
Package secure. Heading to extract.
Yeah, that's the end of it right there. That is awesome. This is see, finally, this is what we've been saying, Diamond, is like, we need a counter to the propaganda from the IRGC, and now we have it. We have an IRGC counter video. This is awesome. What do you think? What's your reaction to it?
Oh, I love it. It's fantastic. Yeah. Even the little sling is there still. The attention to detail is just superb. So I think they did a great job. The bomb that went off, was that on the Iranian side with the IRGC, or was that on the American side? I couldn't really tell.
I'm not sure. I think it was a bomb going off. Let's see if we can see anything here.
Coming in danger close. Keep your heads down.
Yes.
Colonel.
Oh, did you see that the A-10 had like 2 guns? Yes. Yeah. So the A-10's got a main gun and then an add-on gun right there.
That's awesome.
That is so sick. Let's go. I think I'll have to review this during tomorrow's video just because it's so awesome. But everybody here in the live stream, since you guys are here, you get to see it right now. So pretty awesome.
Colonel, Let's go home.
Boom. They see this part is really cool because it shows the little bird helicopters. These little birds are actually loaded out with rockets and all kinds of things like that. Just massive capability on the little birds. So seeing them executing, doing what they do is pretty awesome that's actually in this video. And again, we're fighting fire with fire.
Package secure, heading to extract.
Nice. That's what I'm talking about. Boom. Finally, a Lego video that has good propaganda that's actually showing the truth. That's awesome. Uh-oh, what's this one? Breaking news. Okay. Of course, they're going to paint the U.S. as the devil. Oh. Wow. So it actually shows them like radicalizing their population. They're like, yep, this is how we radicalize everyone. Okay, so just like a radicalization Lego video. Nice. Yeah, that's how the mafia works. Again, I've said this before, like organized crime, mafia, like terrorist mindset. It's not just Iran. It's not just the IRGC. It's the same type of terrorist mindset that you'd have with Chechens, that you had in Afghanistan operating there. So yeah, pretty obvious here. Oh, then this guy with the beard. Okay. Let's see if we can find one that actually has good music. Here's one. Yep, so not sure what they're trying to do here. That's so funny. Yeah, so they're saying the U.S. is the U.S. wanted the ceasefire, and we need to shut down our amazing military that has 160 of our ships destroyed. But yeah, the U.S. wants the ceasefire. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, the U.S. is so afraid. Oh, nice. They are actually showing, so they're showing working with Russian hackers and Chinese hackers in this video. That's pretty true. That's cool. Yep. Yeah, so they did in memory of the girls from the school, which we don't even know if that's confirmed that was an accidental U.S. strike or not, because Iran could have gotten their hands on a Tomahawk missile. It's proliferated extremely well. And oh, by the way, the Iranian IRGC puts their headquarters in or near girls' schools, and they rotate kids in and out of the schools. So that I wish that part was put in here. Surprise, shocker that it wasn't. Yeah, Fatah. So Fatah missiles, that's going to be one of their most capable ballistic missiles. But again, they have nothing else. Like, they haven't invested in their Air Force. They have no desire to have a strong fighter force, bomber force, anything like that. Their whole goal is like an evil dictator almost. Weird. It's almost like a Dr. Evil dictator type character that would want just ballistic missiles that could be launched at other countries. Yeah, strange. Oh, nice. It's showing their cluster warheads, because we know they had cluster warheads that they've been launching now. And those are going to be harder to defend against. Again, if they can get the propaganda war, then they can turn the corporate media against each other, against the US. And their whole goal is to make it look like Iran is winning. So they're taking 2 or 3 things that they actually did, and they're blowing them up into this massive victory speech, right? Because the US is like, well, we're winning. So typically the person that's winning a ton doesn't really need to say we're winning, right? But the person that's not winning needs to be like, look, we're winning. We're amazing. Wild. Okay, I think we get the idea here. They're basically showing a whole bunch of hits on U.S. infrastructure, Israeli infrastructure, and that is the tactic. That's why people say, oh, well, Iran's never won a war, but they've never lost a negotiation, because they're propaganda wing. Think about it. They fully focus on propaganda, hacking, behind the scenes, dirty money laundering, oil revenue from China. I mean, it's the perfect legitimized, in a sense, mafia bosses. So they're going to take a couple key propaganda wins and then spin those and try to show the U.S. and their own people that the U.S. is losing. That's their whole goal. Meanwhile, 160 of their ships, thousands of ballistic missiles gone, IRGC headquarters gone. So yeah, this just shows you how the propaganda machine works and how it can actually work on some people. And so that's why we got to fight against this. That's the whole goal. Focus on not letting the propaganda machine win from the IRGC. So let's see, anything else? We've looked at most of these. Okay, let's see if there's any latest breaking updates on X. So we know that one of their delegates, I think it was Arakchi, he went to Russia. Let's see if there's anything coming out on that. Let's see what the latest is. Yep. Mertz says, U.S. humiliated, lacks strategy. Oh, okay. Interesting. Is this like a German guy? I don't know. It sounds like a German name. So a lot of propaganda coming out of Europe. Europe's getting pressured in a whole new way. And a lot of it has to do with the petrodollar. So some things that we could cover at another time, but Iran's basically in cahoots with the UK in a lot of ways when it comes to how the UK they direct the price of the crude oil. Like the UK decides it. They have an office that just decides it. And then they arbitrage that where they have a couple dollars extra. So let's say they say, oh, the price of oil today is $115, but the public facing cost is $117. And they're like, well, we'll just take $2 for every barrel sold today. And that happens to be 600 million barrels of oil sold today. So you guys do the math. 600 million. So they get 1.2 billion a day just to arbitrage the cost of the oil. So they love it because they're getting, cheap crude from Iran. So all the things I'm looking at are showing that the UK and Iran are basically in cahoots. And the US is like, oh, wait, hey, UK, why don't we just move that office to New York? We can decide the price of oil ourselves. It's all on the American dollar. So why don't we just move the office to New York? And then we'll go ahead and collect that extra $2 above for the arbitrage. How's that, UK? And UK is like, oh, no. Oh, no. Okay, what do you need, US? What do you need? And that's why you see Trump, who's like, oh, the UK wasn't there when we needed us. UK wasn't there. If you see that, it's a whole 4D chess game that Trump's playing behind the scenes. And he's like, hey, UK, remember when you weren't there for us during the war? Well, we're actually going to move the office of oil arbitrage and deciding the price of Brent crude to New York. And we'll just go ahead and handle it from here. Okay, UK, you guys just keep enjoying your crumpets, your tea and crumpets, and we'll just move the petrodollar office deciding the cost of oil to, let's move to Florida. I say Florida's better. Tax-free state. Florida's probably a much better place to move that to. But that's why likely there's a lot of back and forth between Europe and the US right now, is because the US is about to change the entire global economy by not allowing the UK to dictate the price of Brent crude. If that changes, I mean, just a massive blow to Europe, but they're oligarchs that are sitting there doing nothing. They're like, we're not going to help you with the Strait of Hormuz. And then we're like, oh, remember after World War II when we let you set up the office that decides the price of Brent crude? And granted, Europe is like in agreement. They're like, okay, the US dollar will be the global reserve currency. And the US is like, sure, we'll become a massive superpower. And the UK is like, but can we decide the price of Brent crude and do it from our little office in London? And then we get to collect the arbitrage dollars off the top of that. And the US at the time, they're like, yeah, we just won World War II. You're going to make, a few $1 trillion a year off of that. Sure. Yeah, whatever. We're going to become a massive superpower. Go ahead. But now Trump's like, oh, yeah, remember that deal that we allowed you to have? Yeah, remember when you weren't there for us with Iran and you guys got a little bit too comfortable and thought that you were in charge of the world because you're arbitraging oil barrel dollars? Yeah, we're going to go ahead and swap that up on you. Thanks for being there for us, guys. Appreciate it. So that's just what I think's happening behind the scenes. I hope it's happening behind the scenes, putting these UK oligarchs in their place, not allowing them to dictate and arbitrage the price of Brent crude would be amazing. I think that's awesome. Make them do some actual work. Make them have an actual military that's capable instead of sitting there arbitraging Brent crude. And they're basically becoming like the Oman of the world. I mean, Oman's got lazy in the Strait of Hormuz, obviously. And as you can see, all that oil money, what does it create? Laziness. So it creates this lazy Oman who doesn't do anything against Iran. It creates a lazy UK that just wants the oil to keep flowing through the Strait of Hormuz. Why? Because they're getting a $2 arbitrage off every barrel. So why wouldn't they want? Why? That's why they're pissed, and they're like, "Well, okay, I guess we'll send some ships to the United States now." But we really liked it before, when literally, millions of barrels of oil were coming out of the Strait of Hormuz, and we were getting $2 off of every single one. Do you see why the UK didn't want to enter the war? Why the UK is like, we don't want any part of it. We just want to make sure Iran keeps the oil flowing because we want our $1 trillion a year. So. I mean, you guys are hearing it from me. I think that's what's going to come out of this whole thing. Just my personal opinion. I'll dive more into this later. But it's wild, the amount of laziness that's been created because of the petro profits, the petro arbitrage from the UK is just insane. So supposedly Iran has conveyed a phased proposal through regional mediators offering to reopen the Strait of Hormuz to international shipping. Of course, Europe wants that. UK is like, yeah, let's do it. Just give Iran whatever they want. We don't care about a nuclear weapon. We don't care if they have a nuke and they've deemed our military a terrorist force. We just want to arbitrage their oil. And we want to just sit back and be fat and happy and not really have a fighting force with that. I mean, if they were taking that money and creating a massively strong military with a backbone, that's one thing. But what are they doing with that money? Social programs, giving billions of dollars to immigrants who don't want to work, who want to sit around and get paid. So they're propping them up, buying their votes. That's what they're doing with the petrodollars. So I say take it away from them. Hey, UK, you want to use your petrodollars to create a socialist state that goes against the United States? Cool. We're going to move the office to Florida. Boom, rug pull. And Starmer's like, wait, we'll help. Wait, we'll help. I can't let all these like millions of people that are on government programs not vote for me next time. I won't get elected. So that's why he's like saying, oh yeah, we're gonna help. So again, I could go on that for hours, but I think Diamond, did I get the point across decently on that? Okay, she's giving me the thumbs. Well, a head shake. Okay, thumbs up. Cool. Not 2 thumbs up. She's giving me 1. If she gets 2 thumbs up, that means I really nailed the point home. But if she's just kind of like, she's like, yeah, I've been in this seat for 19 hours at work today, boss. But hey,
I do want to read this comment though, to go with that, because this person says that they're from Scotland and it's not the UK saying no, it's the government. Excuse me. And the majority of the people are against him and his stupid decisions. We are very close to kicking him out of government.
Yeah.
So that's interesting too. So it's just the government.
Got it. Yeah, that's a good distinction. I mean, I have a lot of friends from the UK. I flew with a weapons systems officer from the UK. Great guy. Actually, I think we flew together in combat in Afghanistan, but super good guy. Really appreciated him. And the UK's got some amazing people. That's a really good distinction. It's not the people in the UK. It's the president who just cares about social programs and buying votes. I mean, anytime you get someone who wants to buy votes, like in creating social programs to buy the votes, like Gavin Newsom's done in California, same thing. Gavin Newsom, Starmer, they're using the same recipe. And this is the same recipe that's basically trickled down from the World Economic Forum. They probably had meetings where, I know that there's a instance of Biden going into one of the most expensive condos in New York, and he comes out 30 minutes later, and then the next day they announced he was going to be the person running for the Democratic ticket before he got elected. So he basically kissed the ring, and they talk about the strategy probably of, all right, trillions, billions of dollars, especially in Europe from this petro arbitrage, take that money and then go ahead and create a socialist state where you just buy votes, put as many people as you can on food stamps, government programs, and then make sure they know where that money's coming from. Make sure they know it's coming from, in the US, it's the Democrats. In the UK, it's Starmer's party, whatever that is. And so that's the recipe. That's the playbook. And that's what they've been doing. And they've been trying to do in the US. And that's what they'll try to do with Gavin Newsom, running Gavin Newsom for president, is basically the California model, where they'll open up the borders again. They'll flood it. They'll use the same model that they used before during the Biden administration, which is the Europe model. So it's like using the European model to flood the country with immigrants, put them on social programs, have them vote for you, and then boom, now you've got basically the exact European model taking place in the US. And nobody wants to hear that. But again, this isn't even trying to be political. This is just me telling you, putting you in the shoes of what the 4D chess is from this level of leadership. That's what they're trying to do. Okay, anything else on the updates, the briefs? Yep, I think it's great. The Trump administration is firm, direct, consistent. They've emphasized that Iran can simply call us or come directly to the negotiating table. They canceled the planned envoy trips. We know that. Iranian officials continue to project strong public defiance. They accuse the United States of piracy through ongoing blockade and excessive demands. So Iran's saying that they will come to the table if they can just keep their nuclear program and not dismantle that at all. Foreign Minister Abbas Agharachi, following stops in Pakistan and Oman, met with President Putin and senior Russian officials in St. Petersburg. During the meeting, Arakchi blamed the U.S. for the lack of progress in earlier talks, citing excessive demands and stating that the U.S. had achieved none of its war goals. Yeah, zero. He thanked Russia for its firm and unshaken support. Putin praised the Iranian people for courageously fighting for their independence and sovereignty. So again, he's praising the IRGC. He's not praising the Iranian people. He's kissing the ring. They're both kissing each other's rings. It's a big ring kissing, measuring contest where they're like, no, you're the better dictator. No, you're the better dictator. No, you've killed your people better. No, you've killed your people better. And they're just kind of sitting there like patting each other on the back, basically showing you an echo chamber. This is the definition of an echo chamber. But there's a lot of money to be made, and Iran needs weapons from Russia. Russia has a lot to gain in Iran by having the U.S. not have any type of influence there. But this happened in Syria as well. And the Syria model didn't work out too well with Bashar al-Assad, and he ended up moving to Russia. So the Syria model, prior to that happening, Putin was making a lot of statements like this as well about Syria and how he was so proud of Bashar al-Assad's regime and how blah, 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 like nationalistic statements and things like that. Putin expressed hope that Iran would overcome this difficult period and pledged that Russia would do everything that serves your interest and interest of the peoples of the region to ensure the peace is achieved as quickly as possible. So without coming out and saying we're giving you military support because they want plausible deniability, they're kind of saying that. Russia has offered diplomatic encouragement, goodwill, and potential mediation services. But okay, this is saying they haven't completely committed any direct military involvement or new arms shipment yet. But who knows what's happening behind the scenes. Russia is great at smuggling. Smuggling is something they do incredibly well. So that could be something that we see. The talks lasted approximately an hour and a half and were described by Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov as useful. They were useful. Yeah, I would love to know what context is hidden in that useful term. So this move illustrates the regime's attempt to share the burden and buy time while confronting sustained economic strain. So they're trying to show, look, the world's on our side. Russia's on our side. That's their main focus there. U.S. military posture. American forces continue to demonstrate that they are flowing into the region on a whole new level. Resupplies, new arms, leverage. And again, a lot of the corporate media will not cover this, but the leverage is squarely on the side of the U.S. That's why Iran's showing the desperation that they are. They're saying they'll open the Strait of Hormuz. We'll open it. Just let us develop our nuclear program. So as you can see, they've been the ones to go down with the ship, but now they're starting to give some concessions, right? So they're showing strength. We're meeting with Putin. We're aligned with Russia. We can dominate the military, but we'll open the Strait of Hormuz right now. If you just let us develop our nuclear program. Can you do that? Can we do that? Meanwhile, the UK is like, yes, let's get the oil flowing again. And we're like, hey, UK, we just don't want them to have a nuclear weapon. And the UK is like, it doesn't matter. Let's just let the strait open up so we get our petrodollars, so we get our arbitrage. And that's why you need an adult in the room who's not swayed by money. And that's when you think, and again, this isn't even meant to be political, but when you have a billionaire who's in the presidential office, they're not swayed by money. Every other president before has had a lot of pressure with money, a lot of pressure with the deals. They don't understand how deals like this work, and they just pay off. They know they're going to get a nice sweet check, sweet cut on the back end through book deals or whatever else. They're going to get a lot of basically a lot of kickbacks from that whole system that we talked about before. So they haven't had the will to shut down the Strait of Hormuz because they want those kickbacks. But now we got an administration where they don't care about the kickbacks. And oh, by the way, it's reorienting all these ships to the U.S. with the first tanker just arriving in Japan today that's loading up with U.S. oil instead of oil from the Strait of Hormuz. And that's just one of many, probably one of thousands that we'll see here soon. So Europe's going to do what they do. They're going to do their thing. I'll keep covering that in a lot of my videos just to make sure we kind of all understand what's going on with that. And you'll see Europe, you'll see what they'll do. They'll continuously try to support Iran because of that very thing, because of that petrodollar arbitrage that they want, until the whole office just moves to Florida. And then good luck. I don't know what kind of a lease or deal that the UK had on that office, but very profitable deal that could be going away very soon. So let me pop to the member doc. Let's see if we got any questions. I love how you two interact with each other and us. Thanks for the hard work and time you put into it. Always fun lives too. That's from Sunkissed Girl. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. It's great having Diamond's perspective on here as well. Kodzu, thanks for the interesting show. Much better that we get to watch on the news shows. Hey, I really appreciate that. I'm glad you're getting a lot out of it. That means a ton. We're hitting our hour mark. So I'll go ahead and turn it over to Diamond. Diamond, any closing thoughts?
Nothing much. Just thank you everyone for being here and interacting with us in the live. We do love doing these and talking with each other, talking with you about, the breaking news topics, just kind of an extension of our normal videos. So I'm glad that you all like them as well. And like both of us on here, I do actually really enjoy doing these with Ryan. So yeah, I'm just glad you like it. And I hope y'all have a great rest of your day.
Awesome. Cool. I'm going to throw an ad in, everybody. If you don't mind watching the ad, it'll help us out, helps the channel. So I'm throwing it in right now. Thanks so much, everybody. Really appreciate you being here and have a great rest of your day. We'll see you on tomorrow's video. Max and Diamond signing off. We'll see you guys.